Hello, I am Chatty and this is my channel, Chatty the Mad Chatter. So this is the Booktuber Newbie Tag. There are 10 questions, I will answer them so you get a little bit of an introduction to me and hopefully what will be coming up on my channel. Future Chatty here again. This is part 2 of the Booktuber Newbie Tag. If you've not seen part 1 of the Newbie Tag, I will hopefully be techy enough to link it. So watch that one if you would like, or if you just enjoy watching part 2s of things, you know, knock yourself out. This does not bode well for the future of all videos. They're clearly going to be far too long and rambling. Editing Chatty is working really hard to ensure they are not long and rambling and they are more precise. I tried. I really tried. But we're struggling and we haven't even, this is our first video on the channel. I mean, it's chaos. It's chaos, chaos, chaos. Nothing. I have nothing to ask booktubers that I follow because I've already asked them. I am the person that comments on all the videos relentlessly. It's like I can't stop myself. I just need to say things. Hence why I'm making this channel, because maybe it will stop me commenting so badly. I mean, I hope that it's appreciated in good faith. It's very much kind of borderline. What's appreciation of what you're doing? And what's almost like stalking because I won't shut up on your channel. Yeah, she's mainly talking about Abby Salter. Fun channel, would recommend Abby Salter at the channel Abby Salter. It's a fine line, but it comes from a good place, I promise. But if you need me to back off, tell me. So yeah, I ask as I go. I have any questions? Question, comment, more. Yes, that is all I have to say on that one. Which is a relief, isn't it, editing Chatty, because I've had said so much already. Challenges that will be difficult to overcome: editing, making myself stop talking so that videos are of a reasonable size. Yeah, that's a big challenge. Finding time to edit is also a big challenge. I'm very good at finding time to record videos. I've got that down now. But editing, I've not done it. It's very time consuming. It takes a long time. I have 2 small children in primary school and I also work, so trying to squeeze in, and you know, I do life, you know, we need to make sure everyone eats. We need to make sure our house doesn't turn into a chaos station, which is quite frequent. And I also want to give time to my family and to my friends and to do all of that stuff. So it's just balancing it all out. So that's trying to make time for it is going to be the challenge, I feel. I'm sure I'll have new challenges as I go and learn about this. I mean, it's all new. Let's see what happens. Maybe I'll come back to this later. Where do I read? Everywhere I can. Before children, I would always have a book in my bag. Like the bag would need to have a book in it because it made me feel safe. And I'd read on the bus, I'd read on the train, I'd read waiting in a queue, everywhere and anywhere. Now I sometimes have room for a book in my bag, but not usually. And there is usually no time for me to be reading because I'm playing, make sure the child isn't doing something ridiculous. So yeah. Yeah, so I suppose I have a few reading spots. It's nice to read in the garden in the sunshine when the weather's not freezing and rainy. I read in bed, although I am falling asleep a lot more now than I used to. I used to never fall asleep while I had a book. I could keep going. But I have been bashed on the head by my tombs a few times now and realised, oh, I didn't take in any of this. I probably should go to bed, which I don't want to. I will read at the breakfast table. I don't read at lunch and dinner unless I'm by myself. But at the breakfast table, I tend to find we don't need to talk to each other as much. It's the start of a day. It's okay, I feel, to read then. But yeah, I can't ignore my family at lunch and dinner time. It feels a bit rude. Read on occasion when I get to have a bath. Sometimes I'll read in the bath. Sometimes I'll read on the loo. We all do it. Well, a lot of us do it. And I have a reading chair, which gives me great joy. So yeah, in my bedroom, I've got a little bit of a, what do you call it, bay window, and I've got a chair in the bay window, and I like to sit there and read. It's very relaxing. I read downstairs on the sofa. Yeah, lots of places. My ideal reading place, I would love a hammock, and to be allowed to just sit and read in a hammock. That would be nice. It's not a possibility, but it would be nice. Oh, and finally, best till last, what kind of books do you like to read? Well, I've given you my reading journey, and now I'll do a overview of what I read at the moment. I have just gone around my house and grabbed books that I feel cover the range that I like to read. I've just kind of grabbed my favourites, and I've just separated them out into genres. So I realise I've just started categorising them. I like to do that a lot. Let's start with what you're expecting, which is the fantasy. So here I have an example of classic epic fantasy. And I've chosen this one because I recently read the Lycanius trilogy and I absolutely loved it. This book, I had to sellotape the bottom because it started falling apart. This book is the weakest one, but it sets it up. So I think if you read this and you are pulled in by the plot, then you will love the other two. I don't know if you're on the fence about it, whether or not you'll enjoy it. But I really, really enjoyed it. The plot is the key with this one. The plot is the key. The characters are fine, but it's the plotting of this that is so good. So good. So I love stories like this where you have a cast of characters, you have a fantastic world where it has its own laws and history. And I love it where little bits that happen get pulled together into the bigger picture, and things that referred to previously then come back into the picture in like the next book. I love the weaving. I love a good weaving in of stuff. So yeah, so this is my classic epic fantasy example. So I enjoy that type of fantasy. I also love Terry Pratchett. So this is a very different type of fantasy set in Discworld. It's about the post service in Dischord, and this is so funny, and the characters are so lovable, and it gives you such a good feeling when you read it. There are many other booktubers out there that give you a great introduction into how to start Terry Pratchett, but if you ever feel like picking one up, do it. You will know straight away in that book whether or not you enjoy his writing style and his humour, and if you do, carry on. You're going to have a wonderful time. If it's not really for you, then maybe he's not for you, and that's okay. But yes, I love all of this. So a lot of this is set in the city, so this is a lot more urban fantasy. There are aspects that are more folktale-y, like the witches are more kind of like in a little village in the mountains, with sort of more of a castle type of situation. But quite a lot of Discworld is set in Ankh-Morpork, which is the capital city. So all the watch books are set there, and I think these are called like the industrial books. So there's some like characters that you continue to see. So although you don't need to read them in order, some of them will have cameos in the different series. And this is going postal. This is the first book in the Moist trilogy. It's so funny. I love it. The other book that I have is an author that I really got into last year. I've not read everything he's written yet, but I have read all of his gin work, and that's P. Jelly Clark, and this is his first novel, A Master of Gin. He is fantastic with his novellas. I still got 2 that I need to read by him. But this is an example of me wanting to read books that are not just set in like a Western world. So both those 2 are Western fantasies. They are very much kind of have that medieval setting, and majority of the cast are white. It's kind of that kind of feel to the book, and I want to kind of branch out and explore other histories. So these are set in Egypt, in Cairo, and we have gin magic, we have a steampunk feel, and we have the main character, the protagonist, Fatma, is incredible. I love her, And so we get to hear a story from where she comes from. So she's a woman, one of the only women she is a woman working for the Ministry of Alchemy, Enchantments and Supernatural Entities. And I really love this world that he created. I had such a good time in here. I adore this main character. I enjoy the side characters around her. And I hope he writes more. I think he still needs to tweak his plotting of a novel as opposed to a novella. But I still had a really great time with this book. I think it wasn't for everyone because it's a mixture of like a whodunit in there as well. But I just love the characters, so I was totally here for it. But yes, this is an example of me wanting to read non-Eurocentric fantasy. And then I have some children's fantasy. So I have recently started reading both these series. The first is Nevermore by Jessica Townsend. This is so whimsical and adorable and delightful, but still with a very clear plot, with hints of darkness. And the protagonist is, again, absolutely wonderful. And she is, I've adopted her. She is not a doormat, but she is kind and compassionate, and wonderful cast of people who befriend her and become her found family. And the world, I want to go to the world, it's just incredible. And the characters are so much fun. There's characters that you are annoyed by and enjoy disliking. There's characters that you adore. And yeah, everything about this book, I just love it. I just love it so much. So I'm so delighted to have found this book and have it in my life. And then the other series is the How to Train Your Dragon series by Cressida Cowell. So this has been around for a long time. But I only just started picking it up when I was looking for some books to read with my son, who was starting to enjoy chapter books, and I found this one and was wondering if it would be suitable for him. Did it have a good sort of ratio of pictures to action? Cressida Cowell has got a very unique illustration style. I really enjoy it. I love the spikiness of it. And this is so much fun. It's not like the film. So if you've seen the film and are expecting that in book form, don't. The film is Hollywood. The film is fine. I like the film. And they've taken inspiration from the books, but it's not the book at all. The book is a lot grittier, and the main character is one of those that I think everyone who reads a lot of books will relate to. It's the bookie nerd and the big macho bully person who has all the qualities that the Viking clans want in a Viking, is like the anti him. So you've got the bully and you've got the nerdy kid, and it's just a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I'd say the first one is definitely not the weak. The first one is the weakest. I really enjoy like where the story goes and how it picks up, and you get extra characters that come in, and I'm having a lot of fun with these. And if I wasn't reading them to my son, I would definitely be reading them for myself. So that's the fantasy. I also enjoy reading lots of other books. I do enjoy crime every now and then. I've read lots of Agatha Christie. I've read some Peter James. I've read I read a really good one from the library, My Sister the Serial Killer. It wasn't really, actually that's not a good example of crime, because it was more kind of slice of life rather than crime. But I enjoyed that book anyway. So I enjoy those. I'm still searching for a thriller that I love as much as the Millennium Trilogy, but I do enjoy a thriller. But I do really like historical fiction as well. So these are a couple of my favourites. We have Longbourn by Jo Baker, which although it does go in the category of like it's inspired by Jane Austen. It's like another story using her characters. But it's from the point of view of the servants, and it's really delightful. So I picked it up because of the Jane Austen connection, but I kept reading because of its own story. It was really well done, and I had a great time with it. Michelle Magorian, I love her work. There's only one of her books that I don't love as much as the other ones. But she's best known for Goodnight Mr. Tom, but this is another of her books called Cuckoo in the Nest, and the detail, it's set in the 1940s, and the details in here are so good, and the family and each character is so vivid in these books and their relationship, and I just love it. I love it a lot. This one's my favourite because it's got a lot of link to the theatre, which I really enjoy. A lot of links to the theatre. It's set a lot within the theatre world, which I really enjoy. So it's kind of, I suppose it's sort of niche in its own kind of book as a historical fiction as well. So yeah, so I also enjoy historical fiction. I also enjoy contemporary, and it just so happens the two books that I chose as my examples of contemporary are both YA. And I realised this year that actually I love YA contemporary. I think it's possibly because it deals more with subjects that I'm interested in, which are exploring identity, looking at the issues of racism, mental health, gender equality, gender identity, LGBTQ plus stories, all of those, and they tend to be a lot more predominant in YA than in adult fiction that I've found, and I think I just enjoy the stories a lot more. I think maybe I enjoy hanging out more with teenagers than people going through a midlife crisis. I don't know. But yeah, I really enjoyed both of these. I read these both last year. Pretty edges. And they were so good. And I now want to read all of Case and Callender's works and all of Angie Thomas's works. And so far I haven't. So I'm hoping to do a lot more of that this year. I think most people know who Angie Thomas is. But she is best known for The Hate You Give, teenagers kind of growing up and just highlighting the institutional racism that exists and that they are fighting against. And this book definitely deals a lot with identity. It tells the story of a trans boy who is kind of trying to find his place sort of in college. He feels like he won't find love, and that is something that he would like, as well as his dreams as a poor kid to be able to get into a university, to be able to fulfill his art dreams as well. So I really love both of these. I love the characters in both of these. I loved all the things that were explored in both of these. I wasn't expecting to love them as much as I did. So the writing, I think, was fantastic in these, and yeah, I just adored both of the main characters, and I adopted them, and I felt for them, and I was emotionally affected by both of these books as well. I realise with what you read has kind of turned into me giving a little summary of books here, but I've only got two more to go. So one is my second to last is a memoir. I don't read a lot of memoirs, but there have been quite a few that have interested me because of the content. So I already said that I enjoy reading books that are about people's lives that are incredibly different to my own. Like in my white privileged position, I've not had to face discrimination. So I am keen to see kind of what life is like for other people and hear their stories and listen to what they have to say. And I really wanted to love this book, and I absolutely did. And it is heartbreaking, yet funny, yet adorable, and they are so honest and open and brave for going through their story so explicitly as they do, and really examining themselves. And I really got a lot from reading this. I'm not someone who tabs books, but I was photographing passages from this because I was really moved by them. So it also explores how they kind of come to terms not only with their sexual identity, but their gender identity, their cultural identity, and their religious identity. So there is a lot of exploration in this book, and it does feel uplifting, and there are uplifting moments, even when a lot of it feels really depressing. But if you enjoy a memoir and any of those subjects interest you, I highly recommend this book, Unicorn, The Memoir of a Muslim Drag Queen by Amaru Al-Qadi. And my final book is a classic, and as an example I have chosen mystery old book that no one can see what it is. It's Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. I really love this book. I found it in one of those old bookshops where they have loads of these old-fashioned little leather-bound books. It's so thin. It's so deceptively thin and small and tiny. and that's the writing. Oh, it's upside down. That's the writing on it. So yeah, I love Jane Austen. She is a comfort read for me. I adore her books because I love the characters and they are so funny. Her books are hilarious. They make me laugh so much, and I always get something new from reading them, even though I've read them so many times, some more than others, purely because of which books I've had to hand. And I've just chosen Sense and Sensibility because it is it's one that I've read most recently, and I'm feeling very affectionate towards it at this. It was the one that I felt like picking up at the time, so it changes. I've got a top 4 of Jane Austen, and it changes as to which one is my favourite depending on my mood. But for now, I've gone for Sense and Sensibility. So this is another example of things that I like to read. So there we go. That's my range of reading. And as I was looking at them, as I gathered them, I realised that actually I was looking at like the gender ratio, just because I find it interesting. Out of my selection of books, I have 3 by male authors, 5 by female authors, and 2 by trans authors. And as I like a reflection of what I'm reading at the moment, that's quite a nice mix of the genders. So that's pretty good. And just because stats are fun, I just had a little look at them, and these books are written by BIPOC authors, and these books are not. It would be nice to kind of get things a bit more equal with my reading. So when I choose books because I want to read them. But at the back of my mind, I do have an awareness and a kind of conscious of, am I reading books by BIPOC authors? Am I reading books written by women? Am I reading books written by trans people? Just because they have to fight more to kind of get into the industry. So it's nice to support them and show the publishing industry that we do want books written by all authors and not just white males. Though I do enjoy the white male authors as well. I absolutely do, but they have much better chance of being published than the other ones. So I just thought that was interesting. So there we go, that's my newbie tag. So hopefully that will have given you a sort of an overview about what to expect on my channel and kind of what things I enjoy. So hopefully if you like my vibe and you like the video, you'll give it a little like and subscribe and chat to me in the comments about anything, really, any of this stuff. I love to chat, can you tell? It's in the name. So yeah, so there'll be more videos coming from me, and I'm looking forward to it. Bring on the booktube fun. Happy reading, everyone, and I'll see you soon.